Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to compare the Chanel Holiday 2018 versus 2019 collections. I have the eyeshadows and also the lip glosses, and I thought we could do like a swatch side-by-side comparison and just talk about the different collections because I know a lot of you own last year's collection and are curious how it compares to this year, so I thought we could do that for today's video. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. I also would like to talk about my eye makeup today because I impressed myself. I used the Dior holiday palette called Party in Colors, and I used the green and the gold, and I just think that these two colors together look so pretty, and I was just so very proud of myself, so I thought I would share my excitement about makeup with you guys. Okay, so here is our pile of makeup. So I have all four eyeshadows that came out in the holiday collection from last year. And I also have the red lip gloss here. So the red one here is called number 182, and I think it was called Flamboyance because there was also a red nail polish that came with it. And from the holiday collection from this year to compare, I have the palette here. This one is called 342 Lumière et Opulence. And I have one of the lip glosses here. I think this one is called Carmin or something to that effect. It's number 824 right here. So let's go ahead and just look at these glosses right away in the tubes. I mean, I feel like they look quite similar just in the packaging. Black here with the gold and the reds. They do look similar in the tubes, but we're going to go ahead and do some swatches to compare. And even up here, they look exactly the same. So this is last year's gloss right here. So this one I thought was absolutely stunning because it's red with a bit of like gold shimmer or gold swirl, which you can see in the tube, but especially here as a swatch. It's almost like a bricky red. It's honestly so beautiful. So let's go ahead and compare it with this year. When you see it in the tube, it kind of looks more like, it's obviously glossy, but flat in the sense that there's no shimmer in it. So here we have this year's gloss on the bottom. When you compare them side by side, I feel like this year's gloss looks more like a classic blue toned or cool toned red. Compared side by side, I find that last year's looks more warm with a gold swirl inside, and this one looks more cool toned. I don't know if you can see it as much on camera, but in person it definitely looks very different. And I think you guys can see here in the swatches. That being said, they are both really pretty, and I do feel like this year's red gloss is quite similar to it. I think only a true makeup fanatic would find very small differences. I think if you were not able to pick up this one in store and you want to get this one this year, I think you'll be okay. Okay, let's move on to the eyeshadows. As I mentioned, I picked up all four last year. So I have number 908 Noir Lamé, and these are all metallic finishes. They're really beautiful. I also have number 905 Electrum Lamé, 906 Vert Lamé, and 907 Cuivre Lamé. So let's just compare the packaging right away. So this is this year's palette here. As you can see, the CC is a golden color and last year's looks more of a bronzy shade. And I think that about does it for the packaging differences. This year's box came on, like, how do I describe it? So the box that the shadow came with, it had different colors on every side of the box to show the different colors inside the palette. This is the palette this year here. And as you can see, there is some detailing. Apparently the detailing is supposed to be a replica of the vintage buttons on Chanel suits and clothing. And then these are the shadow detailings from last year's collection. So last year's collection, they all had lion heads because apparently Coco Chanel was a Leo. So they all had these really beautiful lion head decor. As you can see, it has been loved, so the lion has faded a little bit. but they all had this line here, and I don't remember if the box had different color packaging, but as you can see, the detailing is really pretty. Let's go ahead and just open up these individuals here so you can see. So I think this is Lamé, yeah. So Electrum Lamé. So this is just like your beautiful highlight color. I did use this as a highlight on my cheeks. It was absolutely stunning. This is Cuivre Lamé. I think this is probably my favorite shade because it's a beautiful bronzy gold color. It's really easy for every day. It's so pretty. This one was Noir Lamé. I don't think I got as much use out of this one as I did with the rest, but I still appreciated it. And then last but not least, we have our Vert Lamé. So I think what I'll do is I'll start swatching some colors side by side, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to match them. So I'm gonna start with the lightest one here and then swatch it next to the lightest single color. So this one here is the single, and then this one here is the one in the palette. So let's go ahead and do a swatch on the back of my hand just to see. So as you can see, the single is more cool toned, whereas the one in the palette is almost more like a peachy shimmer color. They're both light, but they're not exactly identical. Okay, so now I want to compare this dark green color in the palette here. Oops. I want to compare this one with Vert Lamé right here. So let's go ahead and do a swatch. That's Vert Lamé right there. So as you can see, when you see it like this, it looks green with a bit of gold. It's very pretty. I have a feeling that this one here in the palette is going to be much darker. So this is the one in the palette right here. It's interesting because the individual one almost looks darker. Let's go ahead and do a swatch. That's so interesting. I thought for sure that this one would be darker, but it appears as though this one here from last year is more cool toned. And this one seems to have a bit more of like a warmer, maybe golden or bronzy undertone. And when I compare them side by side, this one doesn't even look green anymore. This one definitely comes out more green. It's just interesting what happens when you compare them side by side, but both of them are very pretty. Okay, now we have Cuivre Lamé, which is absolutely stunning. It's really a nice bronze color. And I think I'm gonna compare it to this like chocolatey brown shade down here. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is the chocolate shade right here. And this is our bronze shade. Now, side by side, they really don't look similar at all. Let's go ahead and swatch them. They really don't have that much in common. The Cuivre Lamé is much more of a satin finish. It looks much more sparkly. This one here looks more muted down. It's still very pretty, but it's just surprising when you compare them side by side, because when I saw this collection come out this year, I thought, oh, it looks so close to what we had last year. But now when I'm comparing them, they actually look quite different. I think I'll go ahead and compare this bronze color with the gold shade just to see how different it is. So yeah, they really don't look similar at all. It's interesting because when you just compare different colors, this one looks much more golden than it does in the palette here. At first you think it might be like a nice bronze color possibly, but when you compare it to this one here, it looks much more golden. So now we have Noir Lamé at last. I think I will swatch at this one with this top green shade just to see how they compare. So as you can see, they look totally different when they're swatched side by side. Let's go ahead and do a real swatch. It's interesting because in the palette, this green shadow is the darkest one, but it really looks quite pale in comparison to this black color from last year. It also looks a bit green and also golden and copper maybe a little bit. So yeah, these are totally different. I think for one last swatch, I will swatch all four of these on the back of my hand and then all four of these singles side by side just to give you like a last final comparison. So here we have them all swatched side by side. This is this year's palette and this is last year's singles. I think the only one that looks remotely similar is the Vert Lamé and the dark green shadow in the palette. The rest all look very different. I'm very pleasantly surprised because, you know, I'm a huge makeup collector slash hoarder, so it's always nice when I can justify my purchases by saying that they're very different from each other. So yeah, this is my comparison. I did not buy the highlighter from last year, so I can't compare it to this year. And I did not buy a red nail polish from the collection this year, so I can't compare that. But these are the shadows and lip glosses that I can compare. I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. Hope you guys got some useful information. I hope you guys enjoyed all of these swatches. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell on the side so you can know whenever I post a new video. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.